let's go back to like business plans. Let's kind of touch on, I guess the first thing in the business plan you want to start off with your executive summary. Kind of
Yep.
touch on like an executive summary and company information. Can you kind of touch just a little bit on some
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
intro? Okay.
So I always tell people too with business plans, if you go into a bank and you give them a 40, 50 page business plan, no one's reading it. Okay. You need to be able to put, you may have another business plan that's more in depth, but I've heard anything past 5 slides is not going anywhere. So, I think because then you need to be able to talk passionately, right? So you're right. You start with an executive business plan, like, okay, this is who I am, this is my background. Then you talk about the operations, whether you're in restaurant or any other, who's going to be involved, how much is your involvement, who's going to be in this with you. Then you might put together a kind of a profit loss statement, like, and you can use the FDD, the franchise disclosure document. Just remember, when brands give you that, those are averages. By law, we cannot predict what you're going to do in sales. So if you say to me, hey, Lori, how much can I do in this? I'll say our system average is 1.6. You may do 500,000. Somebody else may do 2 million, but this is the system average. And so what I always say is take your business plan, do a worst case scenario. So if you're at 1.6, say you're 1.6, 1.2, 2 million, have 3 different tiers, because again, going into a new business, if you've not been in it before, don't assume you're going to be able to hit all the key metrics, the labor, all those different things that you have to look at when you're doing a business. Over time, you will get better and better at meeting those metrics. And in fact, you will probably do better, because what I've seen in a lot of brands is franchisees actually run better P&Ls than corporate does, because they have skin in the game. It's their money, right? And so failure is not an option. And so that, having kind of a P&L that you start out, okay, and these FDDs will give you some basic info, but again, those are averages. Talk to other franchisees in the system. If you have friends that have franchises, just go sit, hey, tell me what mistakes did you make? And, if food and paper is this, what should I expect to do? And just really start to put that pencil to paper, and then figure out, what is that return that I need to be able to make this? Because you know what? I tell everybody in the restaurant business, it's a pennies business. You lose in quarters. Now it can add up to a lot of pennies, but if you're not watching some of your key operating metrics, and I would say I was in the grocery business for a long time too, with Fleming Foods. And so I worked with a lot of grocery independents and worked with them, and worked for Fleming was like the second largest to Super Value. And so it was a lot of grocery independent owners. And so, again, grocery pennies business, right? And so we put coffee cheap, but then we'd mark something else up, because what gets people in the door? Coffee, flour, you had certain items. And that's what you have to look at when you're doing your business plan too, is that, okay, how can I price out items in my market? You have to think through all that. What are the competitors in the market? Kind of think through that as you're looking at that, but put that P&L together. And then, talk about development too, because with a lot of brand, whether it's a service brand that maybe you just have to go out and get a truck and you got to build a territory. Do you get a territory? What tools are they going to give you to help you go build that territory? Because it doesn't matter what franchise system you're in, whether you're selling food or dryer vents. Because I have a friend, Thomas, who he runs a lot of small service brand franchises. So for somebody getting out of college and all he needs is a truck, and he can go out there and clean dryer vents. I mean, who knew, right? Like, I think it's a genius. And the investment is maybe 50 to 75,000, but your investment is in you, your time, you're out there building the business. And then hopefully over time, then you're getting bigger territories, right? And that type of thing. So again, I think finding the right franchise for you is important. And that's why when you do your business plan and you present it to the bank, hopefully you've done a lot of that work prior to that to find, maybe you narrow to 3. These are my top 3. And then think through, should I even get into that brand? Because I have to tell you, I probably say no more than yes. Because I tell people, listen, I'm going to either help you live a dream or I'm going to talk you out of a dream, but we're going to figure it out together. Just because you love our food doesn't mean you're going to be a good franchise. If you've not developed before, if you've never ran a business before, because you have a lot of employees, all of that. It's like, I just want them to find the right franchise. And that's why I will point people to franchising.com. Great website. Go there. Usually if a brand is affiliated with franchising.com, they're pretty solid. Okay. But you can go in there, put what part of the country you're in, how much you have to invest. You'll see some of the franchises that come up. So you can go to franchising.com. You can also go to, like I mentioned, the IFA, International Franchise Association. They are the industry. They're the ones that lobby on behalf of franchising and small business. Okay. I love IFA. They're another great resource that as you look into franchising, they have some educational things that you can read about. They also have a conference every February. If you're trying to franchise your business, let's say you already have a business and you're like, how do I franchise? Which some people want to start doing that. IFA has a lot of resources for that. And then there's conferences like the Multi-Unit Franchise Show. That is in March every year. And you can go there and there'll be like 400 brands there, right? Or there's a lot of small regional shows that you may find. Dallas has them, San Diego has them, where they're just small little franchising shows that you can go to. Not all your big brands are going to be there, but if you're just starting out on this, most brands, if you don't have any prior background, sometimes you have to start with a C brand just to get in, right? Or if you do, and I hate to say, as a woman, I'm all about the money, but it's true because I know that if you've got the financial resources and maybe you have other really good business experience of you've started a business, you had employees, you understand all of that. I know that you're going to find the right operator to go in there and help you do this.
That's so great. We appreciate that information. That was some valuable information, and you continue to spit it out. And we appreciate. I know I appreciate it, and I know everybody who's going to be tuning in going to appreciate it. Let me go back to the business plan again. If I'm going to a bank, which I have gone to a bank, but they usually ask for a perform a balance sheet, financial statement, correct?
Yeah.
Usually ask for what, like 12 months? They want a 12 months performance.
If you have an existing business, they'll probably want a little more than that. But starting out, have your financials put together. You'd be surprised how many people, I'll say, hey, send me a P&L or personal financial statement, PFS. And they're like, what? Like, I don't care whether you have a business or not, have a personal financial statement that you keep up with, so how you're doing financially. Because there again, it goes back to, I look for the cream, right? Like, these are my expenses. This is my income coming in. Do you have an extra money to put towards this business? So that's where I would think, really look through, and put together a personal financial statement. So when you go into a bank, it's like, I can meet my obligations personally. This is what I'm looking for, or they want to know that you're going to have some cash to put into this business going forward. So have your financials up to date. And it's surprising, a lot of people don't even know what a PFA, personal financial statement is, but you know, even if you only got $5,000, hey, it's nice to see that get added and, you know, do that every quarter and every year so you can see how you're doing financially.
That is a great points, great points. Let me ask you as far as the PFS, the score have do can we go to score to get a
They
template
have
from the
templates
PFS?
there too. They've got templates for almost everything that's out there. And you don't have to use a mentor. So, you know, you can get, I'm pretty sure you don't, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I don't think you have to have a mentor. You can sign as in as a guest, but even if you do get a mentor, you don't have to use them as much as you want. But they have a lot of templates. They have a lot of videos that you can go out there like, oh, hey, I want to market my business. How do I go about doing that? They'll have videos for that. They have lots of great resources. The other thing, SCORE will do local workshops. I've seen some of those where and you can find out from your bank. You know, you want to find a bank that's SBA.
Mhm.
Maybe they're an SBA, what's the word for it? Certified. They can make a decision for the SBA. I can't remember the word I want to use for that, but you know, they will know a lot of times about workshops because I live in Oklahoma City. I've seen some of the workshops. I've seen the banks kind of reach out to the local SCORE here and say, hey, will you help educate on, you know, on franchising? So you just have to get connected. And I think you can do that through just going to the score.org website and putting in your zip code, and they'll tell you some of the local things that may be going on in your community that you can take advantage of. I don't know if every SCORE chapter, how vibrant it is. You know, I can't speak to that, but I think they do a pretty good job of keeping all the resources up to date.
Great.